Hello YouTube, Jim Tech Lovin from the basement. How are you today? What have I got in front of me? I'm just running 8064 on a 12600K. It's on a Gigabyte Aorus Z790 Elite AX motherboard. 32 gig of TCreate Expert. DDR5 6000, and it's got a SAMA 240 millimeter AIO on it, with a 24 gig 3090, an MSI 3090, and it's just on the bench. I'll show you that in a minute here, because we'll go through the BIOS on that, and I'll just go through the BIOS settings, and especially so the memory is tuned, the CPU. So it's running all-core, and it's not an all-core overclock. It's running all-core at 4.8 gigahertz. Actually, I'm sorry. Yes, it's not really an overclock. It is undervolted. So right now I'm running at 4.8 gigahertz at 1.19 volts under load. You can see my temperature there of 57 degrees. And that's going to be 57, 56 right here. The E-cores are at 3.8 gigahertz. And the RAM is actually at 6200 megahertz, or 6.2 gigahertz. Yeah, it's at 6.2. So the RAM is slightly overclocked. Nothing with the GPU yet. I haven't done anything with it. Though this is kind of ready to go into a case. I haven't decided what case it's going to go in yet. I have a few to choose from, but I haven't really decided. It's probably going to go in a white case, I think, mainly because I've got a lot of white cases. Yeah, so I'll show you the BIOS. Oh, and this is where I stopped it. I just had to stop it because I wanted to open HW Info, and I was using up all my CPU cycles, so it was pretty slow to open. So I closed it, opened HW Info, and then brought it back up on the screen. Just taking a sip of my tea. So this is pretty higher end components. Like with anything, you can achieve similar performance, but on lower end components, you probably won't be able to achieve the same results that you see not only with my stuff, but with most of the YouTubers out there. Must be noted that I pay for all of my stuff. I don't get anything free from any of the manufacturers. Nothing. So I'm completely unbiased in my opinion. Well, mostly unbiased. Except I'll never buy Samsung products. And mainly that's because Samsung, as I stated before in one of my previous videos, doesn't stand behind their products. As I bought this wonderful 980 Pro here, the 2 terabyte, and if you're not aware, these had problems with the firmware. Well, this Samsung 980 Pro went into read-only mode, and that's what happens to them. They go into read-only mode, and now they're pooched. They're inaccessible. There's nothing you can do with them. You can't upgrade the firmware. You can't do anything. And I was just about to upgrade the firmware on it when it decided to go south on me. So, however unfortunate, but when I contacted Samsung, and they're fully aware it's a known problem to them, they wanted me to jump through a pile of hoops, which I refused to do. I said, it's your drive. You know they're bad. They're a known bad drive. I'll send you back the drive. I sent them pictures, serial number, model number, picture of the drive, the whole 9 yards. I said, I'll send it back to you. You send me another one. When you get it, you send me another one. And nope, they just wanted me to jump through hoops. So I've got, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 builds right here, right now. They probably have anywhere from 12 to 16 NVMEs in them. I don't know off the top of my head, but none of them are Samsung. That I know for a fact. And I won't use their products because they don't stand behind them. And just to tell you another short story about a Sama cooler. I really like some of the Sama products. I'm pretty impressed by them. So they have an AIO. They have cases too. Their 205As are really nice cases. And some other products that are they have decent products. Anyway, I bought a few of their 205 or sorry their AIOs, their 240 millimeter AIOs. I'm not sure of their specific they're called the T240 LCD. So they come with the screen. So I had one, I installed it on this build right here, and the screen didn't work, or is wonky. Anyway, and it still does the same thing now, but the cooler worked fine. So I contacted Sama about it. I don't even know if I even sent them pictures, but I explained the situation to them, and they sent me another cooler. They said, just keep that cooler, and we'll send you another one, and it arrived the other day. No jumping through hoops, nothing. So I don't know, maybe they've had some issues with their screens. Their software is not very good for this AIO. I have to admit that. But the AIOs are pretty good. And they just sent me a new AIO. No charge. No charge, no jumping through hoops, nothing. And I would say they're a lot smaller than Samsung is. So I won't even buy Samsung TVs. I will buy Samsung nothing now. And I told them they'd be on every single YouTube video I do moving forward. So this is probably the third one they've been on. But anyway, so I don't receive any funding from anybody. All out of pocket. So I think I'm pretty much non-biased, or I have an unbiased opinion. Anyway, on the last or the one before that, we were going to have a draw for a tiny PC. And that would be this right here from Lenovo. Here, let's put that up there. I think these are, probably can't see the Lenovo. I don't think you can, but anyway, these are great PCs. This is the and my little tape on here is what exactly is in this PC. Let's give you a quick little look at that, and that's the size of it. That's it. I mean, it's the size of a mouse pad. They're great. So we are having a draw for this. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to draw this. Comes with a keyboard, a mini keyboard. It's got the wireless in the back. It's just a wireless dongle. And the mini keyboard and mouse are right here. So I use mine. I have a few of them, but I use one upstairs just to stream to my TV, which is great. And it worked great. They're really fast. So they can take an NVMe, an SSD, or a 2.5-inch hard drive. This one has 16 gig of RAM. It runs Windows 10 Pro. There's USB 2.0, USB 3.0, Ethernet, HDMI, and 2 display ports. So you can even use multiple monitors in it. So they're I'm pretty impressed by them. They're pretty fast. They're great. They're absolutely great. You can't game on them. I guess if you used an external card, you might be able to. But they're great for everything. If you want to run, you could run just about anything you wanted except gaming. So anyway, I asked for, if you wanted to enter the draw, so you still can enter the draw, I asked for contact info, and I have that here somewhere, and I'm just gonna put this up so you see it. Yes, so send me an email to techlovin599@gmail.com and give me your name You can either, and your email address or your phone number. And what city you're from. I'd like to get 1,000 subscribers. But that's how you need to enter. That's all you have to do. You don't have to jump through any hoops or anything. Although this is a small hoop, just jump through this small hoop here. But I do need your contact info. So a few people have subscribed to my channel, but they didn't give me any contact info. So if you're watching again and you've already subscribed, just send me your contact info to techlovin599@gmail.com, and we'll enter you in the draw. Without that, I can't put anybody in the draw unless I get that info. I'm not going to spam you or anything like that. I only need it so that I can contact the winner. I have nothing to spam you with, so I won't be spamming you. Anyway, moving on, that's out of the way. And yes, there's only one available right now. There's only one available, so you don't get one. You get entered into a draw. A few people have asked me, when do I get my PC? Yeah, you don't, it's a draw. So one person will win. And I'm going to do another video later today on 5800 X3D tuning. I have one right behind me, and it's on a Gigabyte Aorus X570 master motherboard with a 7900 XTX and 32 gig of RAM, but it's 4 sticks of RAM. And it's very odd. I haven't even tuned this RAM, but it's actually faster than DDR5 6200, and it's DDR4 3600. Yeah, I can't believe the speed of this RAM, but I'll show you that in the next video when we look at the tuning of that. I'm going to show you how we set up this BIOS. First, I'll just close this here or stop it. I've got multiple screens going here, so I have to flip around. I never know where my mouse is half the time. So I'll just stop that. And I'm going to take you through the BIOS. And I'll just show you. There's the... Oh, there's the 48. It's just swapping back and forth going to... Yeah, because it's... Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, and here's our other screen. It's our memory, and these are our memory timings over here. Maybe I can sit you down and you still be able to see that. Might not be close enough to the screen. I'll just move it a little bit here. Move some stuff out of the way so that we can get you a little closer. Oh. Yeah, so I think you can see the memory timings. Maybe. But they're over here. Right in here are memory timings as they sit right now. I don't think I've done, yeah, I have done quite a bit with memory timings here. And we'll just run a mem test. So this is Max Mem 2. It's a nice program to run. Just like any memory test, I can run it 9 times and get 9 different results, but they're all within the margin of error. But it gives you an idea. So this is DDR5 6200. You can see it up here. It's 6200. And Intel's latency is so much better than AMD's latency. Yeah, so 60.9 on the latency and 45.67 gigabytes per second. Just to compare that, the one behind, the 5800 X3D that is running DDR4 3600, gets about 47 anywhere from 47 to 49 gigabytes per second. The latency is higher, but it actually beats the DDR5 6200. This is 2 sticks, the DDR5, and the other is 4. That's odd. I don't know what's going on there, because I haven't done anything with the RAM behind me. I just said, wow, where did that speed come from? I've never really seen that on Ryzen and DDR4. I haven't seen that kind of speed. I've seen, like, 35, 36, 30, even, you'd be getting high at 38. But that actually gets like 47 gigabytes, which is just crazy. That's crazy speed for Ryzen anyway. So I'm just going to take you over here a little bit. I'll show you the setup here. That's just the way I set up the bench. This motherboard, does it have a postcode reader? No, it doesn't have a postcode reader. That would be over there in that top corner there. There's the RAM, the TCreate. No RGB. Kind of get sick of RGB anyway. And there's the cooler. And that's just the way I had to put that cooler on, just because I wanted to tune the system. So I needed better cooling than just my little stock cooler I would throw on there. So that's kind of the way I set it up before I build my PCs. Oh, I just moved here a bit. Sorry. Try and straighten you out a bit. There we go. Okay. Don't you just hate this Microsoft flower? It's the ugliest thing. I haven't activated this yet, so I can't put my wallpaper on. I don't think I can. I think I've tried. It says, yeah, Windows isn't activated, so you can't change the wallpaper. Go to personalize, and yeah, I need to activate Windows before you can personalize your PC. So let's go into the BIOS, and I'll show you the BIOS settings. So we're just gonna restart our computer. I gotta grab my keyboard here. Oh. And we're just going to hold down the shift key. And then we're going to go to the power button, and the power button on in Windows, and restart. And we're holding the shift key down. Why am I holding the shift key down? I don't need to hold the shift key down. I don't know why I'm holding the shift key down. That would be if I wanted to boot into safe mode, which I don't want to do. Although it's probably going to bring that screen up anyway. Oh, no, it's not. There we go. We're into the BIOS. So I had to bang on the delete key to go into BIOS. If we wanted to, let me see, I think it's F2 on this. Yeah, F2 brings us to the main screen, the main BIOS screen instead of the advanced screen. As you see, our memory frequency there at 6200 megahertz. Our CPU frequency at 4.8 gigahertz. Our temperature, our voltage. So we're running pretty low voltage, 1.245. I don't know what CPU biscuits is. I really have no idea what that is. Yes, Z790 Aorus Elite gives us our motherboard, our 12th gen i5 12600K, 32 gig of RAM. Yada yada. Where's our BIOS? Yeah, we're running the latest BIOS, the FH. I believe that is, yes. So if we want to go to the advanced mode, we can press F2, and this brings us to the advanced mode. We've got menus across the top that we can scroll across with our arrow key. This is our favorites, and this is our main one, the tweaker. So I'm just running a, my CPU upgrade. I'm running the max performance profile. I only had, this is where you could disable E-cores if you wanted to, right down here. I'm just on, I haven't got them disabled. All right, this is our base clock or our front side bus, or our bus. We called a number of things, but standard is 100 megahertz, so that's what we're at. You can change this. You can go to 101. You'll probably get, about maybe maximum 103 out of that. And that, you can overclock with the base clock, but it's not a good idea if you're running SATA drives. They may actually cease to function. Above 100, even at 101, they can cease to function. Everything else would be fine, but it overclocks everything, right? Because your memory is based on the bus. So if you're at 100 and you're running 6,000 megahertz, it's going to be 6,000. If you're at 101, it's going to be above 6,000. Multi-core performance enabled. There's not much here. I have the clocks are set on auto for both the performance and efficiency cores. The ring ratio I've raised a little bit to 40. So it's manually set. Let's go to our advanced CPU settings. So wherever you have, let me just escape out of there. Wherever you have like a little folder on the left there, I think you can see that. You can just press enter and bring you to another sub menu. And these are all of our alternate CPU settings. Sorry. Over temperature, everything is pretty much set on auto. Hyper-threading, speed shift I have enabled. And that's where we went when you saw the screen and we went from 48 down to like 500 megahertz. That's the speed shift technology. Thermal monitor, auto, ring to core, offset down bit. I haven't set any of these. Energy efficient turbo. Yeah, no, I disabled it. I mean, you bought a CPU to perform at a certain level, so I just disable that. Flex ratio disabled. Thermal velocity boost, I don't have anything set. Let's get to something I've actually done. Virtualization technology, you don't need to enable this if you're not running any virtual OSs. So you can just disable virtualization technology. Very difficult word for me to say. I don't have an AVX offset, and I've had no issues with it. So here, my active turbo ratios is where I do have it. I do have my clock set. So under one core, one P core active, it will run at 5 gigahertz. And you can see all core we're running 48. So with 5 or 6 cores, it's 48. It's 49 with 3 or 4, and then 50 with 1 or 2. And then my E-turbo ratio is static at 38, but it's 38 across the board, as opposed to 36, 36, 34, 34 on the right there. The enabling mode, just left it at random. And then our turbo cores match our core settings, our P cores and E cores set earlier on that. Now we get into our RAM. I have all of this set on auto, high bandwidth, low latency. I do have my XMP profile enabled. So my XMP profile is DDR5 6000 at 48, 48, 48, 96 at 1.1 volt. So right now I'm set at 62. We can go to our advanced settings. Oh, by the way, all the stars is that I I can add these to my favorites. So they've been added to my favorites. It tells me they're in there, my favorites, so I don't have to navigate a bunch of menus to try and find what I'm looking for. Just on the CPU, I am using adaptive vCore. So I'm not using a static voltage, I'm just using an adaptive voltage. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of my other settings here. Advanced voltage settings. Yeah, I haven't really, there's nothing in here to set. That's your ring voltage, your internal graphics, system agent. I still could do that, but I haven't done that. And your load line, now I've set these in here. I have the vCore load line set to high. vCore protection, that's max at 400. Nothing in the virtual VR config enabled. And we'll escape out of there and escape out of that. So we go to our advanced memory settings. Actually, I am looking for something here. One second, I'll find it. Oh, here we go. My RAM voltage. Just so you can see what I'm running. So my VDDQ, the stock is 1.1. I'm running 1.25, perfectly safe at 1.25, and I like entering manual voltages because I have control over the voltage that way. And VDD2 is 1.37 volts, which is the same, whoops, as my DDR voltage, I believe. Yeah, same as the VDR voltage. So with DDR5, you could say send voltage to each individual RAM stick. There's my VDDQ again at 1.25 volts. So I'm syncing my my voltages across chips, so it's 1.37 because I have it synced right here in the voltage mode. But if I was to change this to split, then I can actually change each one of these voltages here for each RAM stick. I only have 2 in there. But I have it set to sync. So it's just going to sync those voltages. So there's nothing wrong with putting even 1.4 volts into your DDR5 RAM. Okay, so that handles the voltage for the DDR5 RAM. Mind you, if you blow up your sticks, I'm not responsible for it. But and that's all you got to be careful of is your voltages and what you're putting in the stuff. There's a lot of DDR5 out there that its XMP is 1.35 volts, but it runs at a lower voltage than DDR4 used to. But it doesn't mean that you can't put the same voltage that you put into your DDR4. So this RAM, because it's a little bit higher end RAM at running at 1.1 volts under the XMP. So I knew I had room. It doesn't run very hot at all. It doesn't even get to 60 degrees. So we'll go to our advanced memory settings. And yeah, I'm running Gear 2 mode. At this point, I have enabled fast boot, but if you're going to overclock, you might want to change this to disable fast boot, right there. Just when you're starting to do it. Don't think I've really changed much in here, except for the retry loop. I let it loop a couple of times because it does want to train the RAM. And I play with this. I've got it on enhanced performance right now as opposed to enhanced stability. This is your RAM stick info, where you can see the info for your RAM. You see XMP is all 1.1 or Expo in this case. In this case, it's XMP, but if it was AMD, it would be Expo. So we're putting more voltage into the RAM than the XMP setting. We don't really. We could enter stuff in here into the user column if we wanted, which I haven't done yet, but I will eventually. Memory training settings. I might have changed one item in here, or I didn't because I couldn't find it. So yeah, I just left it all on auto. Okay, so this is where we get into our timings. Let me just go back. I want to check XMP again. XMP was 48. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we've gone a long way from XMP. So we're 34, 38. 50. Where do I get the 50 from? I got the 50 from adding the 38 and the 12, the TRP. So I added the RTP, I'm sorry, the TRP and the RTP together to get my TRAS of 50. There's still some settings I have to play around with that I haven't yet. TCWL, you can, 2 below your CAS latency or your TCL. RDS, RDL, and TFA all kind of go together. In this case, I have 4616. You can go to 4416 and see if that posts for you. I haven't touched any of these yet. I still may. They're set at auto. TRFC2. You can see it was at 480. I'm now at 400. So multiples of 8. Yeah. Multiples of 8 to set your TRC2. So whatever it is, if you've got 480, that would be 8 times 6, right? I'm 8 times 5, 400. This one you could probably set lower than 240, but it's set at 240. It was at 390. TRTP was at 23. It's now at 12. Yeah, TFA was at 32. Command rate, if you leave it at 2, it'll be easier to overclock your memory. And then you could try to put it to 1, but DDR5 won't run at command rate 1. This you could go up to 65, 535, which is going to max it out. I'm about half of that, so I still could, and that's going to improve your latency a little bit. So I could still go higher with that if I wanted to. There's a couple. There's a couple of really good ones. You can see how much I've lowered some of these. From 23 to 8. From 144 to 44. And this RAM is stable. It's been completely tested. 23 to 12, 135 to 44. So WRP Den and WR Pre are both set at 44. There's a really good YouTube video by a European guy I don't know, one of the Eastern Bloc countries who does one. It's a dubbed video, dubbed in English, but it's done really well. And he does an excellent job of going through all these settings. Yeah, and there was some of these where I changed. Yeah, I ran 12 and 8 on the RDRD, SG and DG, and then 14 and 8. I couldn't run 12 and 8 on the WR, SG and DG. And WRD, SG, and you can see they're about exactly the same as what they were. And then I don't think I touched anything down here. No, nothing at all. RTLs, IOLs. Yeah, but they're within, here we got 25 and 60. Same thing. So with DDR5, I mean, you know, you can put 1.35 volts into it, and just play with the timings. You just can't go a whole pile. You know, I brought these down very slowly to get them to 34, 38, 38. Keep your numbers even if you can. And worst case scenario, you don't boot. Don't put any more than 1.35 volts. And don't put any more than 1.25 into your VDDQ. Worst case scenario is you have to, you know, either pull the battery or short your clear CMOS pins, and it'll clear the CMOS, and you'll go back to the back to your original settings. Once you do get it stable, you need to test everything. Do a few timings. Do your primaries first, which are your top timings, your cast latency, RCD, TRP, and TRAS. Do those first. Reboot. Run some tests, some memory stability tests, like a MEM test. See if it remains stable 15 or 20 minutes. If it is, then go back in, change a couple of other timings. The next ones after those, and then you can try lowering your primaries even lower. It's your TRCD is probably going to hold you back. But you can try lower them again and then test again. It takes a long time to tune RAM. And I'm not finished here, and I've been at it for a while. So it does take a long time. But eventually you get it. And I only had to clear my CMOS. I still had to clear it once or twice, I believe, if I recall correctly. So let's just change the setting. Let's just change that to 65,000. And we'll F10 on that to save our configuration, and let's see if we boot. I think I've saved my profile. I hope I have. And we did. So I heard the beep, so I know we booted. So I'm not going to save the profile, but this is where you save your profiles. You just go to Save Profile, and you can see I have profile 8 set as my memory profile, right there. And I just press Enter, and it would save the profile. I'm not going to save it right now. I guess I could save it, because it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Because I know what change I've made on this one. And we'll just go OK on this. And the profile's saved. And then we'll go F10 and press enter. We'll just go into Windows. That's why I like the beep code speaker, because it tells me if I get the beep, then I know that I'm going to boot into Windows. Or it's going to post. Oh, I don't want to do anything here. We'll just continue. That was because last time when I held the shift key down. So anytime you want to boot in the safe mode, you just hold the shift key down and press restart. Keep holding it down, and then it'll boot back. It'll boot into a screen where you can just go boot in the safe mode. Should you want to use DDU or something to uninstall your graphics drivers and put in a new graphics card, or even just to reinstall graphic cards drivers that you're having problems with. So I'm just going to open the ASRock timing configurator, and I'll put it up on this screen. Come on, there we go. So as you can see, here's the timing. Oh, it stayed the same. It never changed it. Let's just see. Let's just go to max mem here. I'll bring that over there. Wait until it populates. See if we get the same numbers as last time. As to why it didn't change in the BIOS, I don't know. Unless it just won't go there. Okay, so I think that's about exactly the same. I'll just run it again because I can log this. .7, that's pretty good latency. I'll just bring up the log. And then I'll bring it over here. So this is, during my memory testing, I log all of my, so basically I use LibreOffice here, just the Excel program, or LibreOffice Calc. When I use this check mark, the log check mark, it sends it to the maxmem2 log. And then I bring it up here in, here we go. So you can see all this time here. Kind of where, this is where I started. Now, disregard the 27 above that. But that's where I started at 40.43 gigabytes per second. And then started tuning the RAM. So I'm now at 45.68. So I've steadily gone up. Can I get any faster? Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll keep trying. but I have to make sure it's stable also. So I know that it was 100% stable because I've ran RAM tests for hours upon hours. So that's where I am now. That's the program I use, and now I use memtest that I just take from. I actually take it from Ryzen DRAM calculator, and run individual iterations of it. And I'll just show you that. So I just load it onto my desktop, and it's a little program like this. So you enter the amount of memory and you go start testing. So you can see it's testing right now. It's only testing 2 gig of RAM. So I'll run multiple iterations of it. Depending on, I'll usually use 3/4 of my RAM in and around there. And just run through the test. I use most of my RAM. And let it go through the tests until it gets whatever coverage. I'll let it run for a few hours and then come back and see if I have any errors. You don't want any errors. You can't have any errors. So we can stop this. And we'll just go back in the BIOS and we'll see what... So we're just going to restart. And we're going to mash the delete key. I can wait till... I'll wait till a little circle comes off the screen. You can't see it on your screen, but on mine I can see it. I have a lower screen. There we go. So I'm just mashing the delete key until I get into the BIOS. There's our splash screen. There, we're back in the BIOS. Go to our tweaker, our advanced memory settings. Our memory channels timing. I'm just going to change one setting up here. And that was, let's escape. Memory, the real-time memory timing. I'll just disable that. F10 and reboot. Worst case scenario, I would just have to, it may recover. That it's going to boot. Sometimes your board will recover from bad memory timings. It'll just bring you back to where you were. And then you can change whatever that last memory timing. So if you have it set to try and train 2 or 3 times. On auto, I'm not sure how many times it does it. So that's why I set it manually. For training, I'll have it, if it's having trouble, it'll loop and try again and try again. And if it won't go there, it won't go there. Sometimes if you shut off your power supply and then turn it back on, you can get back in. It might give you an error and say F1 to enter setup, which you can enter setup, and then you can change whatever timings you had changed previously and bring them back. Okay, let's just see if that changed anything. As we'll go to our ASRock timing configurator again. Bring it over. No, it still kept it the same. That's weird. Maybe I've hit the limit there on the TREFI. That's this one right up here. So that's what it was originally set at. It seems to be set at the same, but in order to verify that, we can just run maxmem and see if anything changed on there. There we go. That's pretty good memory speed for DDR5. Now Ada 64 also, and I'll just bring that up on the screen just so I can show you that. And later on today, I'm going to do a video on the 58X3D and the setup for that. Yeah. Latency 59.9 right down here on the latency. It's pretty good. So if we brought up Ada 64, I'm just going to open Ada. Yeah, at least it comes up in this one. And if we go to our benchmark section, I've got to do these individually because it's not paid for. I just run the free version because it's free. So that's pretty good. We're right near the top with our 96 megabytes per second on the read, memory write. You have to do these individually and then not move the mouse. It's not a great, perfect benchmark, but it's not bad. We're right at the top at 97 megabytes per second. On the memory write, memory copy. Once again, this is TCreate Expert. I really do like this RAM. It's by T-Force. Oh, I can't quite remember. I think I've got the box here somewhere. Oh yeah, here it is. So yeah, it just says TCreate, but I know it's made by, it's put out by somebody. So that was our copy, one from the top, and here's our latency. I'll just read this. Oh, it's by team group, actually. Oh, and this is TCreate Classic. It's not Expert, it's Classic. Right there. I thought it was Expert, but it's not. It's Classic. That's the furnace you hear. Because I'm in the basement, and it's still winter. So there's our latency at 62. That's not too bad at all. As you can see, I can't scroll up any more than that. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with this memory. And I haven't even hit the wall yet. There's probably more I can do with it. So I'm going to try and do that. I'll probably try and do a little more and see what we get out of it. But anyway, I think that's about it. That's all I'm going to show you. That's going to go in a case very soon. I'll finish tuning the memory. So it's a really good way, if you're doing your own builds, it's a really good way to start your builds. Start them on the bench, just put them on a piece of styrofoam or something so you can get it up off the table a little bit. start them on the bench because you can set them all up that way. And I'll just show you again. So yeah, I just have it set up like this. You can just set it up on the bench like that. And there's my power supply there. It's just a Lee. I think it's 750 watts somewhere. It's just my bench supply. And I'll show you something else here. I'm gonna just find my little pointer. I never can find that thing. I'll just use this. So, if you're doing it on the bench, I'll just show you. Hard to see here. Yeah, so it's always going to be. Hello. Where are you? Sorry, I'm having issues. There we go. This is where I want to be. So it's always going to be these. So you got your speaker right here, and then it's always going to be these two pins that you would short to start the computer. There's always an empty space, and then there's two pins. And then your reset is either underneath or over here on the right. But it's always these two right there. And that's pretty much standard with every board. Just short those two pins with a screwdriver and your PC will start. That's all you have to do. Another thing you can do is just take an old power switch that has the, just put it on there, because that's all it does. When you press the button, you just short those two pins that go down there, and that's what makes your computer start. So you can do it with a screwdriver. Simple, easy as pie. So anyway, that's that. Like I say, I'm doing another video later on the 5800X3D setup and the tuned settings for that. So this is a tuned 12600K. It's really fast, and when you tune the RAM, you tune the graphics card, you tune the CPU. And this is not an overclocked CPU. It's just oh, and I didn't show you, it is minus 30 millivolts, so I do have it undervolted. Then you're going to get better performance out of everything. And the same with the 5800X3D is a little more involved. AMD's great gaming CPU. It's a little more involved, but you can do that too. Keeping in mind, a lot of the guys on YouTube that do YouTube videos, they get their stuff from the manufacturers, and you can bet that the manufacturers send them pretty well binned stuff. They're not getting something off the shelf. So that's why I'm saying your results may be a little bit less depending on what motherboard you have and the components that you're working with, as opposed to what you're seeing on YouTube, where they're sent the best CPUs, the best graphics cards, or the best bin, right? And the manufacturer is not sending them something off the shelf, put it that way. They're getting pretty good stuff. So take that with a grain of salt. When it comes to how far you can overclock your CPU, or how much speed you can get out of your RAM. There's some pretty good people. Buildzoid is pretty good. I mean, he brings his RAM up so high. As to whether it's stable or not, maybe not. But so this is stuff you can do. Tuning your system to get the best performance out of it is the best thing you can do. Trying to go really high is probably not a great idea. You're gonna introduce instability in your system. But if you want a stable system that's really fast, then it's baby steps, right? When you're tuning. All right, so that's all I got for you so far today. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you want to enter the draw, like and or you can just subscribe to my channel. You don't have to like it, but you can subscribe and then send an email to techlovin599@gmail.com and leave me your contact info, and I will enter you into a draw. And I'll just put that. This is all low-tech stuff, right? Because this is my iPad that I do this with. So that's where you enter. techlovin599@gmail.com, and just leave me your contact info. Even if that's just your email, that's fine. And maybe where you're from, your city. And you can enter into the draw for the tiny PC. All right, so thanks for watching. I appreciate it very much. I enjoy doing this, so yeah. So I'd like you to keep watching. I'll try and have some interesting stuff. Like I say, we're going to do the 5800X3D a little bit later. And maybe you'll join me. It'll be posted on YouTube anyway, so we'll see. This has been an hour long, which is, that's long. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and have a great day. Thanks a lot, Jim. Bye-bye.